What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 14, the End of the Bench Show. I am riding solo again today because it's a little bit of an emergency episode. We had a lot of news break today. Thought this was going to be a crazy week, and Tuesday definitely did not disappoint. We're gonna name this episode "The Great, the Good, and the Ugly" instead of "The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly." The Great, the Good, and the Ugly. Before we get started, though, I want to do some quick housekeeping. First, please rate, review, subscribe to the podcast wherever you watch it or listen to it. It would really help us out. Follow us on Instagram at _on_the bench, Twitter at EOTB, and hit the support link if you want to be a monthly supporter of the pod. Half your money goes to No Kid Hungry, and you will also be getting a t-shirt as a thank you. T-shirt update from the other day. We have a further update. We'll definitely be getting them looking at mid-June instead of the end of May. Apparently, you need ink to make the shirt, and the designer doesn't have ink because, just ran out because we we ordered a lot of shirts for you guys. But you can't make shirts without the ink, so just hang tight. We're gonna get into you as fast as possible. Without any further ado, let's get into it right away. So we'll start with the great because the NHL deserves their time in the sun here. Gary Bettman, the commissioner of the NHL, came out and he had a press conference today, basically laid out everything of how the NHL is. Basically, they have their plan approved. It was approved 29-2 by the teams, and they're going to come back. All things relatively considered. Unless something bad health wise happens. If we hit another spike or another increase to the pandemic. Otherwise, they're going to be coming back. And what they basically came to is the regular season is over. There's no teams playing meaningless games, which is something the NBA, which we'll get into later, is kind of struggling with. It's going to be, instead of 16 teams, 24 teams, bracketed up, some buys for the top teams, and they're gonna get started. I mean, it's basically just a full playoff from there. Um, and it was funny because this news came out, and typical hockey fashion or just sports media fashion, the MLB disaster shit show news came out simultaneously, which we'll get into later. And it kind of stole the show from the NHL for like 10 minutes, which I was like, the NHL just did this great thing. They come out first. They're like, we're ready. We're the first ones ready. We have our plan. It's gonna be great. And then they still get people still get distracted with other sports. That kind of sucks for the NHL. But in all, this is very good news. Obviously, it's a plan. It's not set in stone in the sense that it's definitely going to happen. Like I said, health reasons and corona reasons can definitely derail it. But in terms of negotiations with like the players union and the owners, like it's all good to go. It's all approved. And Gary Bettman said, we're gonna basically have training camps open probably July 1. I think before then, like, teams can get together in smaller shifts, we'll call it. So a few players at a time can be on the ice, but July 1 is their goal date to be completely open in terms of training camp, and then start playing shortly after that. So I think the July 1 date is definitely a reasonable date in my opinion. I think anything before that kind of seems like a little too ambitious. So I think the NHL is doing a pretty good thing here, being a little conservative, giving some wiggle room in case something does go bad. It doesn't completely derail it from the jump. Say we have a pretty bad first week of June. If they wanted to schedule their training camp to start like June 15th, then maybe they'd have to push it back, or just say just it'll be a wash altogether. I think by starting July, having a July date in mind, it gives them some flexibility, number one. And number two, it just gives them, it makes them come off as, they really know what they're doing. They're not looking at it like we're more important than Corona. Like we want to be out there, but the health and safety of all of our players and all of our, you know, personnel in the league and team personnel and what have you, it comes first. And that's kind of what this says to me. It's great for the NHL. I have nothing else to say. You guys know, like, I'm not a big hockey guy, as it's been covered on the show, but they do deserve their props. They got it done. I'm happy. I hope the NHL is able to pull this off. I hope everything runs smoothly for all sports' sake, but especially the NHL, because it's an incredible sport to watch. It's very entertaining. I don't always know what's going on, but I always have a great time watching it. And I think if they can really captivate a lot of the audience, a lot of the general public, people start to feel the same way, and they'll grow as a league. And that's what we want. That's what we want for all sports. Um, but especially, the entertaining sports, the sport leagues with, good guys. Like, you don't hear a lot of stuff coming out of the NHL, like, asshole players, guys getting arrested, beating up their wives or what have you. So you want those players to succeed, and you want the league to succeed, and this is a good first step. From there, we're gonna go to what did I say? Good. So the great was the NHL. The good is the NBA. If you guys didn't see, I put on Instagram today. Someone I follow on the Ringer, Kevin O'Connor. He he put up a tweet today, basically outlining something that Adam Silver sent to the GMs in a survey. So Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, has been very proactive in a sense, but he's always been very open-minded in terms of changes in the league, changes in playoff structure, changes in league structure in general. And he's kind of taking the coronavirus pandemic as an opportunity to kind of be like, okay, well, maybe fans just want to see basketball again, so let's try to get funky. And I love it. I mean, they kind of went towards like a World Cup, soccer kind of feel with this. And I love it. I loved it as soon as I saw it. I read more about it, and I loved it even more from there. It's kind of just what I've been saying, like, to friends. I don't think we've ever really covered it on the show, but like, for the sports that want to come back, like, I kind of don't want them to just like normally come back as like status quo. I want shit to get like funky and weird, because like, we're in a weird time. We're in an unprecedented time. Like, do something captivating, do something interesting, do something that's like just out of the box. And for basketball, like, Adam Silver's main thing that seems like it's getting some traction, or at least that's how it was reported by Kevin O'Connor, is definitely funky. And it's very interesting, because you have today, Dame Lillard came out and rambled on and on and on, it seemed like, to basically say, I'm not playing if the games don't matter. And that's really, like I said, with the NHL, it was good that they solved that problem. The NBA is also trying to solve that problem, because obviously you don't want players to come in, play meaningless games, especially, not just because they may get hurt. Like, yes, that's obviously a concern. You don't want your players to get hurt, but the more people that are involved that don't have to be involved, they could get sick, they can get coronavirus, and they can spread it, and we could be back to square one. And we don't want that. So I mean, in this example, Dame got his wish. He will be playing relevant games. He will be playing meaningful games. So I'm going to break it down a little bit for you guys right now. So they're basically doing, or the report says that they want to do a group stage format. So if you've ever watched the World Cup, which I think a lot of you guys probably have who are listening right now, there's group A through, I think it goes to G, but we'll just say group 1 through 5, or 1 through 4 for this example, because that's how many there will be. They will have tiers of teams. So we'll have the 16 current playoff teams, between the West and the East. So the East will have at least 8 teams, and the West they'll have more, but their top 8 teams will also be in there. And then to get to 20, they just take the 4 next best records, regardless of conference. So that solves another problem. People were saying, if you expand the playoff pool, to include more teams, if you do it like traditional, like conference versus conference, you will then have to include some much lesser Eastern Conference teams, which don't belong in the playoffs at all. Or they're like, plenty of games out. There's no way that they should be able to make it. In the West, as it has been for the past, it seems like forever, it's much more competitive. It's, seeds 9 through 13 are not as bad as seeds 9 through 13 in the Eastern Conference. So what that does here is it makes more teams, which is good for for the league. It's good for the TV, it's good for the fans, it's good for the players, you know. And they had to get Zion in there, obviously. So that's problem number one right there. Um, which I'm fine with because Zion's great to watch, and I actually do like watching the Pelicans. They're entertaining team, but regardless, so you have 20 teams. So your tier one will be, your best four teams. Tier two will be your second best four teams, and so on and so on. And then from there, the NBA, however they decide to do it, will have to be. It'll have to be randomized. I don't know how random it'll be. When I saw the report, I was like, yeah, I'm sure they'll be completely random. I'm sure there'll magically be this great matchup that everyone wants to see twice. Um, but I digress. So anyway, it'll randomly generate into four groups. So each group will have five teams. The group you play everyone in your group twice, so everyone will play at least 8 games, and then the two teams in each group with the best record would move on. And from there, the way I understand it is it turns into a regular playoffs, like 7 game series. With those, it'll be 8 teams then, right? Because 2 times 4 is 8. Yep, good math. I know how to do it. And that's really it. Like I love it. I believe it's still going to be at a neutral site, which we said I said on last time I was on. I think it was Sunday. I fully see Disney World being the place that the NBA is. There's so much property, and Disney just makes it like even though the players are going to be like quote unquote trapped, they'll have so much room to move around. They'll have so many things to do. And obviously there'll be a limited number of people. I mean, 20 basketball teams is still, a good amount of people, but I'd have to imagine, the team staff would be relatively minimal. So, I mean, we're looking at a lot and in present time, we're looking at a lot of people given the fact that, there are some states where you're still, completely closed and what have you. This is still a big jump from there. But I think it's extremely doable in Disney. I think this plan is truly amazing. It gets you a ton of basketball, which which I was missing for sure. I could definitely say that I was definitely missing the basketball. It gives you a lot of games, a lot of intrigue. You're gonna basically guarantee the chance that you have your best four teams playing at the end. That's a big thing. There's the Bucks, the Lakers, the Raptors, and the Clippers are the tier one teams now, and I don't think people would complain if they had to watch a 7 game series between the Bucks, the Raptors, and the Lakers and Clippers. I would imagine it would go like that. Um, you know, I It's just really interesting. I think the part that kind of sucks as a basketball fan just looking at the tiers now is the Rockets and the Thunder are the same tier, and I would have loved to see Westbrook go back to OKC and Chris Paul go back to Houston. Although Chris Paul going back to Houston isn't as big of a deal as Russell Westbrook going back to OKC for a few games. But and I'm stupid because that wouldn't have happened anyway because they'd be at a neutral site. So anyway, ignore that stupid comment. We'll cut that in post. Probably not. I don't know how to do that, so we won't cut it. But that's the NBA in a nutshell. I think it's obviously not as great as the NHL because the NHL is essentially, it's a done deal for all. Essentially a done deal anyway. I mean, there is definitely stuff that can go wrong, but it's much more solidified than this NBA plan is because honestly, because like I said, it was just part of a survey, so this may not even be what happens. I just think it is going to be what happens. I think this makes a lot of sense. Um, Kevin O'Connor from The Ringer is, like I said, someone I follow a lot, and he's been saying this for a while that the NBA should just do this in general. And I kind of agree. Now that I see it kind of written out, it definitely makes a lot of sense. It would be obviously better if you could, travel during it, but obviously, with Corona, where I don't think Adam Silver is going to make the teams travel any more than they have to pull this off. And I think the fans would like it. You get almost every major market. You'll have the LA, you'll have Toronto, you'll have Boston, you'll have You'll have Houston, Dallas. I mean, you'll have a bunch. You'll have New York with the Nets, so that's good. Um, and yeah, I mean, you'll have Sacramento for whatever that's worth. There's probably like 5 people on the planet that are interested in that. Um, I think this is good. It gives a lot of teams a chance to play meaningful games. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this. There will be every team that is listed tiers 1 through 5 are teams that you wanna see. I think it's funny though that the the Spurs are listed in tier 5, so I don't know. I guess their streak of consecutive playoff appearances doesn't come to an end if they're in tier 5. I don't know how that'll be looked at in history. Um, I probably won't count it, to be honest, because I don't think they would have made it if it wasn't for coronavirus, or this proposed plan. But we'll see. I mean, you definitely but that's kind of what I'm saying. That it has like a hidden agenda almost to it. You want certain teams in here. Obviously, you want Damian Lillard in here. You want Zion in here. Um, but I mean, we're not going to do a conspiracy theory because it is just the way the standings landed. It's just kind of funny and kind of funny, kind of ironic to look at. What's not funny is the disaster that is the MLB. All right, sorry, I had to take water. The MLB is a shit show, to put it quite simple. Um, I feel like all we do, whether I'm on here or if Cass on here or if Pat on here, all we do is shit on the MLB and Rob Manfred. And honestly, I would love not to. There would be nothing I would love more than to not be furious with baseball, not to want to shit on Rob Manfred, but they just make it so easy, guys. So easy. I mean, this is a fucking joke. You have the NHL moving seamlessly. Oh, I mean, you didn't hear one bad thing. The NBA is moving, no bad things. Nothing about money. The NHL is not talking about money. The MLB, you just have a giant pissing match. The owners are trying to put. So we'll do this slowly. So it was reported the MLB owners offered a sliding pay scale. So basically, what that means, everyone's gonna make less. The teams are gonna make less because fans aren't gonna be there. The players are gonna make less because the fans aren't gonna be there because the owners are gonna make less. So they want to do a sliding pay scale. So the people who get paid the most in baseball, all the players, like the Mike Trout, the Garrett Cole, I think Bryce Harper would probably be included in there. They get the more significant pay cut in terms of percentage and dollars, honestly, obviously. Um, and then, as you go down in terms of total salary, you'll make closer to your total salary. So probably those guys on their shitty rookie deals or pre-arbitration deals, they'll probably make close to their full salary, while Garrett Cole probably make 18 million instead of 36. That would be his salary, which obviously we're not crying a river for people still making tens of millions of dollars. That's obviously not what we're doing here. But if you are a player and the MLB comes to you and says, this is our plan, so the lower tier guys will be like, oh sweet, I'm like, oh, I'm basically not losing anything. That's fantastic. And then you got the other side, the middle side of the room, like, kind of bad, kind of good, kind of happy, kind of not. And then you have the extreme side, which is, the Garrett Coles, the Mike Trouts, et cetera, who are like, well, why the fuck am I getting less if I bring in more money, probably, than these lower tier guys? So they're automatically, the MLB with this proposal just kind of pitted the players against each other. So I saw that this morning. I was like, well, this isn't going to be good. This is going to be a fucking disaster. And I was right. It was reported. I was listening to my OK show, and he said numerous reporters came out and said today could not have gone any worse for Major League Baseball. And before I came on, I got a notification from the great Bleacher Report app that I have always text me. Marcus Stroman tweeted the MLB season is not looking promising. And that's essentially where we're at. It's not looking promising. It's looking more negative by the day. It's looking more unrealistic by the day. And what makes it even worse is it's all about money, which is what I said on Sunday. No one wants to fucking hear it. No one wants to hear you guys bitch about money. No one cares how much money you're losing. No one cares how much money you make. All they want to see is baseball on the field. And if there's not going to be baseball on the field, you tell us why. And if it's about money, we're going to fucking scream. And we're not going to be happy. And honestly, you will probably lose fans. MLB tries to make all these new things that think they're going to fucking bring in new fans. Let me tell you what isn't going to bring in new fans. Telling us that you couldn't get this done because you couldn't get your head out of your fucking ass and solve this money issue. That's not going to bring in fans. That's going to make you lose fans. And you're already losing fans before coronavirus. So maybe you guys should actually sit in a room like fucking men and decide, do we want to have a league at all? Let alone this season. You want to have a league at all? Because I'm going to tell you right now, it's not looking good. Because if you can't solve it today or now, you may not play this year because you want to come back mid-June for spring training. So we're recording May 26th. Time is running out. I mean, if you want to start July 1 or whatever, or like the July 4th weekend or whatever, you have to start spring training again, like probably June 15th and maybe even earlier. You know, you're simply running out of time arguing about all of this money that yeah, is from a business perspective and the player's perspective. I get that it's important. But my goodness, it doesn't even seem like you guys are held up on like health protocol or safety protocol, which I also hear is another disaster that they're running into. So the players just aren't happy at all. And look, John Heyman, I don't like John Heyman, but he tweeted out something from an MLB spokesman, Pat Courtney. So I want to read it. So Pat Courtney said, "We made a proposal to the union that is completely consistent with the economic realities facing our sport. We look forward to a responsive proposal from the MLBPA." So that's great. That's great. That's exactly what a fan wants to see. We're not stupid. We know that if you don't get a deal done, it's probably going to be because of money. We just don't want to be told. We want to have that plausible deniability. But what I do want to say and kind of take the owner's side a little bit here is the last sentence. He said, "We look forward to a responsive proposal from the MLBPA." And to my knowledge anyway, I'm not going to speak for you guys. Maybe you guys have seen things that I haven't seen. Every time the MLB goes to the players with a proposal, as however shitty as it may be, we don't hear anything productive from the players. All they do is, whether you're Blake Snell going on Twitch and complaining how little money you're going to make this year, or you're Bryce Harper agreeing with Blake Snell and saying he did nothing wrong, which, whatever. He didn't do. We'll get into that later, if at all. But my point is, it doesn't seem anyway that they go back to the owners with a counter. They just say, "No, this is fucking ridiculous." Well, that's not productive. So I don't know what both sides want to get done at this point. I mean, I don't want to say I feel bad for the owners because I don't, but like, at least as half-ass as it may be, at least it looks like they're trying. The players, I honestly do not think you could say the same for the players, which sucks because I don't want to take the owner's side. I want to be on the player's side. But, if you're really looking at it objectively, even though the owner's proposals seem to suck from what we hear, whether it's all about money. They sent out a 69 or 68 page fucking procedure, which no one's going to fucking read. I can tell you that. I don't even read an email if it's more than 7 lines. I think someone's going to read a 68 page procedural thing. They're out of your fucking mind when you still can't get over money. But anyway, my point is the MLB owners are trying. The players you have to believe are trying, but you don't see them coming back with any counters. And that's the part that worries me the most. Like, because if both sides were at least, debating, countering each other with points and and whatever, I would be much more optimistic, even though this is terrible news. And obviously it's not good for the players of like, obviously no one's saying it is, but if the players just came back with like something else, even if it was something just as ludicrous as what the owners are saying, I would feel so much better than just hearing the owners did this, players are pissed off, and we'll wait till tomorrow. Like, no, I kind of agree with Pat Courtney. We look forward to a responsive proposal from the MLBPA. So do I. So do all of you. I really do believe that. It can't only be on the owners, but at the same breath, the owners aren't helping themselves and they're not helping the league at this point. And it's really sad. I really hope that this all comes to an end in a positive light. But right now, it doesn't look like we're going to have baseball anytime soon, if at all. Um, and that's really upsetting. And that's where we're going to end it. So hopefully, by the time you guys listen to this, hopefully the whole baseball spiel is a moot point and they had some come to Jesus moment and it's all good. Probably not going to happen, but hopefully. Anyway, that's it from me. We will be recording, Pat and I will be recording tomorrow. You'll get that episode on Thursday. It's going to be a fun episode because we're launching a new segment in future episodes that we're just going to do a whole entire show on tomorrow. So that is going to be fun. To tease it a little bit, I mentioned that I have a ton of alerts from Bleacher Report, and sometimes we all get them and we just go, why the fuck do I care? Or what the hell is this? Or no shit, Sherlock. And that's going to basically be the whole episode tomorrow. It's going to be a ton of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys enjoy the next episode and future episodes. Please rate, review, subscribe on wherever you get your podcasts. Hit the support link if you want to support the pod. 50% of your donation goes to No Kid Hungry. You get a free t-shirt. It's a win-win. Talk to you guys later.